or if anyone needs to log off a little bit early, you will be able to access this on our website. So thank you for joining us to learn more about the First Impressions program. You should have all received an email this morning if you pre-registered, and that had a handout in it, which you're going to see referenced later in the presentation. That email also included a link to the First Impressions guidelines and application on our website. I'm Maureen Wheeler. I'm the Deputy Director of Economic Development for Livingston County. Louise Wadsworth is also on the call with us this morning, and Louise is our downtown coordinator. You have our phone numbers and our direct email addresses here on the screen, and I just want to make sure that you have that contact information. If you have any questions that you don't get answered during today's session, please feel free to reach out to either of us directly. So in today's presentation, we're going to present for about 45 to 50 minutes, leaving us with about 10 to 15 minutes for questions. We're going to talk about the purpose of this program, eligibility requirements, the types of projects that we're looking to fund, and how to apply. So the First Impressions program funds projects that promote a lasting and genuine first impression of Livingston County's downtown districts and businesses. The goal really is to improve both the digital first impression, what somebody sees when they encounter your business online, as well as the physical curb appeal, which in turn can capture greater visitor and resident spending. So we're not looking to fund regular maintenance projects, for example, a new roof or chipping paint. We really want you to start thinking about how you can take your online presence and your physical presence to the next level. You can apply for up to $5,000, which would be provided as a 50-50 matching grant. So if, for example, if you have a $5,000 project, you can apply for a $2,500 grant. If you have a $10,000 or more project, you could apply for the full $5,000. This is a competitive process. So once applications are submitted, they're reviewed for eligibility and for the impact that they'll make. Awards will be announced the week of April 5th. And if you're awarded, you must enter into a grant agreement prior to starting any work. So this means that the project you're applying for cannot realistically start until mid-April, and this includes purchasing your materials. Once your project is completed, you will turn in cost documentation, and that will show what you spent and that it's been paid for, and then you'd receive your grant as a reimbursement, and that's not to exceed 50% of your total project before tax. When we talk about eligibility, we're looking at three things: location, applicant, and project scope. So for location, all projects need to be located in a designated downtown district in one of the county's 9 villages. The villages are Avon, Caledonia, Dansville, Geneseo, Leicester, Lima, Livonia, Mount Morris, and Nunde. If you have questions about the eligibility of your location, you can contact us. You can also visit our website, growlivco.com, and you can view maps with the district boundaries for each of the communities. If you're not located in a downtown district, don't log off just yet. I do think that the video that we're going to be showing you in just a few minutes will still be very beneficial. We also have other funding opportunities from time to time for which these same guidelines may apply. The second eligibility factor is the applicant. We can accept applications from building owners, business owners, and units of local government. If you're a building owner applying, you do have to be current on all of your property taxes. If you're a business owner and if you're proposing any improvements to your building, you do have to have written permission from your landlord. And if you're a unit of local government applying, it has to be for a project that would be open and available to the public. For example, a public art project or streetscape improvements. And then the third area is the project scope. Louise is going to get more into detail on eligible scopes in just a minute, but the point that I want to make here is that your building projects have to comply with the local design guidelines and local code. So if you have questions about the design guidelines, you can contact Louise directly. You can also download all of the guidelines from our website. So again, that's growlivco.com. And if you go to the downtowns page, you'll see a set of guidelines for each of the communities. Any questions on code should be addressed with your local code enforcement officer. And you will want to check to see if you're going to need a building permit or a sign permit for your project. I'm going to turn it over to Louise now, and she's going to go through some eligible scopes of work.
This is a very innovative grant program that is designed to enhance the downtown district as well as increase the curb appeal of your individual businesses. I'm going to go over all the eligible elements of the program that you can apply for. First, facade and lighting. Awnings. These are highly encouraged. They greatly enhance the front of your building and draw attention to your business. Exterior lighting. This includes lighting your sign, adding lighting along the front of your facade to illuminate the pathway, as well as lighting your building and its architectural features. We encourage additional lighting inside your display windows with track lighting. The more lighting here, the better. And a side note, keep your lights on at night. It not only makes the downtown feel safer and more vibrant, it is practically free advertising for your business 24/7. Painting, pointing of brick, replacing windows or doors are all eligible as part of the overall project. But keep in mind, painting or pointing alone will not be competitive for this grant since it is considered general maintenance. Next, we have signage. Multiple types of signs are encouraged. You will see examples of this in the video later on in this webinar. Wall signs and perpendicular or blade signs, as they are also known, are your key signage that everyone should have. Additional signage can be on awnings, windows, doors, A-frame signs, or flags. All signage must comply with the design guidelines for each downtown that are on our website. And they must be approved by the village, who will then issue a sign permit. So all these types of signs are eligible. Next, we have public art and streetscape improvements. Overall enhancement of the downtown district is the goal of this program. Municipalities, as well as private owners, can apply for public art grants such as murals or sculptures. They can also apply for trash receptacles, bike racks, kiosks, or banners. Businesses or building owners can apply for street furniture, including benches and planters, to enhance the curb appeal of their business. And then lastly, we have digital first impressions. Now more than ever, your digital presence is a key component of your business, and we want to help you with that. We can help fund professional photography, professional design services, branding, website development, and e-commerce setup. So that's a lot of information, but if you have any questions as you prepare your application, please reach out to me. I'm here as a resource for you as you work through this process. Last November, an internationally known consultant, Roger Brooks, came to Livingston County and did an assessment of our downtowns. His full report is on our website, but we are pleased to present to you today a webinar he did specifically for us on how to increase sales with curb appeal. Pay close attention to this video. Most of his suggestions can be funded by the First Impressions grant program. The application will ask, explain how your project complies with the First Impressions webinar. The more components you include, the more competitive your application will be. So now we'll take a look at this video.
Hi there, my name is Roger Brooks, and I've had the great pleasure of working in more than 2,000 communities throughout the United States, through Canada, Western Europe, even down in Africa. And over this time, I have come to love and work especially with downtowns. And what's really fun is that this last November, when you had really great weather, I got to spend several weeks in Livingston County. And you have some amazing downtowns with amazing architecture and amazing potential, sometimes a little bit unrealized. But I wanted to spend a little bit of time with you, about half an hour or so, to give you 10 easy things you can do to increase your sales at retail shops, at restaurants, coffee shops, downtown businesses throughout the county. And I'm going to dig right in, right now. Number one is blade signs. Blade signs are signs that are perpendicular to us as we are walking down a sidewalk or driving down a street, like you see here in Canmore, Alberta, which is a town of about 10,000 people. These are great examples because in your towns, when I look down the street, I don't know what's in these businesses. The only way I know what's in these businesses is to be across the street. So these blade signs tease us. They keep us walking down the street or driving down the street. So these signs need to be perpendicular to the pedestrians and to vehicular traffic. They don't need to be huge. They need to be fairly consistent in both size and in height. And so generally, I would also say never more than 4 words on a sign. Always promote the lure. Like you can see here, chocolate, collectibles, trains, restaurant. Never more than 4 words. And always promote the lure, not necessarily the name of the shop. So even though, it's Rocky Mountain Chocolate Factory, they made sure Chocolate Factory was in bigger letters. Typically for height and size, I would do no lower than 7 feet, no higher than 9 feet, no wider than 42 inches. They don't all have to be cookie cutter. And then what you can do is use LED spotlights against your facade to shine out on your signs. So let me show you a few examples. This is in Nantucket. You can see it right there from that angle. Some are square, some are more round, some are more rectangle, but at least we don't create sign clutter because we got consistent height and size. Here it is from a slightly different angle. And in this example, you can see signs that are in Carmel, California, another great town. Music boxes, but see where it says concepts? I don't know what concepts is. Always promote the lure to pull people in. In towns where you're more along a highway, they might be slightly larger, like these I took in Valparaiso, Indiana. And for anybody doing blade signs, in Lethbridge, Alberta, these are built 100-mile-an-hour wind loads. They've never had a problem. You can see the last one there's blank. They were just putting them up. So if a merchant changes, you just change the core part of the sign, not the frame itself. I thought these were great examples in Mount Morris for these 2 restaurants. It'd be good if restaurant or eatery is a little bigger letter, but still they did a good job. I knew what they were and what they were about as I was walking down the sidewalk or driving down the street. So promote what you're selling, the lure that will put people into the store. That's the second part of this. For instance, what would you guess it is? I ask audiences all the time. And they'll say it's a jewelry shop or it's a restaurant, or they don't know what it is. Actually, they sell collectibles, t-shirts, souvenirs, but would you know it? And then so in this one, by the way, avoid script fonts. Can you read what's the bottom part of that sign? It says quality handmade gifts and furniture. Maybe that should be the main words that are on the sign. The wood merchant's already on the windows and the door, but you put quality handmade gifts and furniture, that's enough pull, but it's hard to read script writing, so avoid it. And avoid outline fonts as well. Simple, the better. And then also avoid logos. People have half a second to know what you're about. As they're driving down the street or walking down the street, they'll glance at your sign, and in half a second do they know what you're about. I love this one that Louise in Livingston County shared on these shoes at Footstock. I mean, it's easy, it's clever, it's easy to see what they're about. And that's in Concord, Massachusetts. Down in Corning, Dippity Doodah, they don't even have to say the word ice cream because the sign says it all. And when we talk about blade signs, if you look at advertising costs, radio advertising, it costs about $2.90 to reach every 1,000 listeners. Newspaper, about $1.47 for what's left of newspapers. Outdoor billboards. But look at what blade signs can do. On-site signs, 61%. Direct mail, 25%. 61%. That's 2.5 times more than doing direct mail to everybody. That's the importance of blade signs. Number 2, sandwich boards. And by the way, if you have great blade signs, there's not near the need to do sandwich boards, which sometimes can be hidden by cars and everything. But I love this out in Lima, where they did this little Johnny Barker, got a great blade sign, but then they did takeout open so that people would understand that they are open for takeout. This is during COVID, and so I thought that was a really great job, and when you do, make them decorative. Don't go get those cheesy plastic ones. It just says that you're second class. So avoid the script fonts. Now, I think this one's fine because you're going to see it as a pedestrian, and promote the lure. Once again, the same rules, but make them decorative, open antiques. See, they didn't have to put the name of the store there. Let customers know you're open. That's a great use of these A boards or sandwich boards. And once again, even on sandwich boards, no more than 8 words. Promote the lure, antiques. And so some general rules, make them decorative. They're key to the first impression. I love what they did at Cobblestone Collectibles. And this one's got kind of script font. You're not trying to read this from a car. You're reading as you're walking down the sidewalk. And this one was not in Livingston County. I'm not picking on anybody in the county, but I saw this one place. Does this look like a first-class spa to you? See what I mean? So you need to make it so that it's going to pull people in your shop. I love chalkboards where you can change it. This is a chalkboard one, now open Sundays 12 to 5, tours at 1 to 4 at Flying Monkeys Craft Brewery in Barrie, Ontario. But doing these is a great way to do your daily specials. If you're a restaurant, a coffee shop, you might have pumpkin spice lattes around Thanksgiving and Christmas and Halloween. So I love these because you can always decorate them and make them really great. Here they did 2 side by sides. They could use some paint and everything, but it's a great way to always make it changing, and it's going to get our attention. What do you have for breakfast? A lot of times these can help close the sale. I love this one for a seafood place, Steam Launch Harbor Tours. Now, I think this one it needs about half as many words. If you have a lot of pedestrians, no problem, we'll stop and read the sign. But sandwich boards coupled with blade signs, the sandwich boards can say you're open, the blade signs tell us who you are and why we should come in. Number 3 is window and facade signage. Every restaurant and cafe should have an outdoor menu board. I love this. This merchant spent like $300. They actually had a high school shop class make this for them. But a local craftsperson, and they can open it up and change the menu whenever they like. They can even change it by season. But this is just a great way to help pull people into your doors. Because most people aren't going to walk in and say, "What, can I see your menu before I decide whether I'm going to eat here?" It's a great way to do it. Notice takeout available, as we're going through COVID and these kinds of closures. And by the way, I would encourage all businesses to get rid of any signs that say closed. Instead, that's just a nightmare. What that says to people, go away. Instead, you might do signs like this, says, "We will be open." And then you put in big letters, when. And then you say, "Please come back and visit us." If you're seasonal, just tell us, when is your season? When can we expect you'll be open? You could even have locally make up a bunch of these, and then with like a felt pen, you can write in your hours and days right here. So we will be open. When they see the word open, it pulls their eye, and then it says we will be open, and then they'll see when you're going to be open. And if you do this right, so they're about this size, they'll be able to read them from the street to know that when you're open Tuesday, through Sunday, 10 to 6 as they're walking by. And by the way, one more sign to get rid of is the ones that say restrooms are for customers only or no public restroom. Once again, this is a slap in the face. Don't do this to people. McDonald's has a policy of never putting on the store windows for customers only or no public restrooms, because 70% of the people that go into the McDonald's for the purpose of using the restaurant will buy something. Half buy out of what they call guilt sales. We use a restroom, we better buy something, right? And the other half buy out of impulse. While we're here, let's get something to eat. Let's get something to drink. I love what this merchant in Wickford, Rhode Island did. You can see there's a little sign on the door right there and another sign over here on the left, which I'll get to in a bit. But that little sign on the right, never say no. Tell me where I could go. So if you don't have public restroom, tell us where we can go. Because I got to tell you, relieved visitors spend more. That second sign is this one. Your husband called. He said to buy anything you want. And that's really a cute little clever saying because women account for 80% of all consumer spending. So there you go with in-window and in-display signs. Now let's talk about window displays themselves. And by the way, throughout Livingston County, there are some amazing examples of great window displays like this at Pastique. Remember, I was there in November, so you can see they've already got the stockings hung by the chimney with care. You know, what you put in your window displays is really what closes the sale. Your blade sign gets our attention. Your sandwich board tells us you're open. And by the way, you don't have to use sandwich boards. You can use the flags, the open flags, and I'm going to get to that. But then the windows, what we see in your displays is what closes the sale and brings us in. Notice the little open sign hung there. I think it's awesome. I also recommend that merchants get rid of blackout film. They do it so it reduces UV and heat into the store, but they make UV film that's not blackout. We need to see what you have to sell. Otherwise, we're just looking in a mirror. We can't tell whether you're open or closed. You know, I think this is another great example. Look what they did for the holidays, for Halloween, you know, and just for the holidays. I think it was a great job. You know, here's another one. These are all great examples in your county that we wish more people would emulate. By the way, yellow always pulls the eye more than any other color. Remember that on your blade sign, yellow on black or dark blue, it will always pull the eye more than others. So the lemons in this window display just grabbed our attention as we were coming by. And once again, here's Pastique. I just hit, this is a difference. See, they changed it. So this is our first time coming by at the end of October, and they changed it. I think window displays should change like once a month. And that's fantastic. You know, and here you go. Isn't that great? I just think this is a florist. I think they do a really good job there. I'd love to see a bench sitting there right between those two pots would be fantastic. So I can keep going on, but you've got great examples and you need to emulate them with your window displays. You know, the sunflowers, they're yellow. They just pulled our attention here. And then change it. There it is. 8 times a year, even once a month. So there you go, because static window displays create this been there, done that impression, you know, particularly with your local residents who need to be your bread and butter. You know, this one here was so reflective, it was hard to see it, but it was a really great shop in Geneseo. And so, of course, we went inside and it delivered on the promise. And always, whenever you can, add a decorative open sign. In Livingston County, with your beautiful historic downtowns, we're trying to get away from the neon open signs. I got better ways to get their attention, but signs like this are fantastic. They fit your architecture and the ambience of the towns throughout Livingston County. And number 5, window flyers and posters. You know, this is a real problem merchants have. People come and say, would you hang this poster? They're trying to be good citizens. And what happens is you end up with window displays or windows that are just chock full of these posters and flyers. This shop, which is not in your city, it's actually in Montana, there are 21 flyers and signs on the doors and on the window. One shop. It creates clutter. So no more than 4. I mean, what's your first impression? Would you stand there for 10 minutes reading all of those? Probably not. Studies have shown that once you get over 4, we tend to ignore them all. So what you need to do, when somebody says, would you hang this flyer? You can say, well, which one am I going to take out? Or you tell somebody, well, we'll go ahead and post it there, but as soon as somebody else comes in with a newer one, you know, we're trying to be good citizens. You can't make everybody happy, and the last thing you want to do is create this clutter in your sign windows. I mean, I love, this is a hardware store in Nunde, and I think it's a fabulous hardware store. So this is not picking on. I love the decorative displays outside their store. But once again, it's one of these situations, what do we do when we have more than 20 flyers in our windows? And so I think it's great that a hardware store would go ahead and do outdoor displays when I see a lot of your retail businesses don't really do that. So next is window displays in exterior spaces, just like you saw in Nunde. You know, I love, this was one of my favorite Rosa shops in the entire county in Mount Morris. You know, I love these where they extend some of the antiques to exterior spaces. They still give people plenty of walking space, wheelchair space, stroller spaces to get right through their shops. And I think these are fantastic. Extend window displays to exterior spaces. I mean, if we go back to Nunde, you know, you can see this. I love this little eatery. It was closed when we were there. We would have eaten there. But once again, it's got extending window displays to exterior spaces. Did a great job with their signage right there. It's just awesome. And I'm sure they change it by season. So, in all your towns, every merchant should be allowed 24 inches to 36 inches along their facade to extend window displays to these exterior spaces. Some examples, I saw this in Canmore, Alberta. Every morning, the merchants go out and they do this. And every night when they close, they put the things back inside. You know, in some of your towns, you have some vacant spaces. What draws our eyes more than your blade signs and sandwich boards is extensions of window displays to exterior spaces. It tells us instantly that you're open, and a teaser of things that they have that are available. You know, I love this. Look at the bike shop there. They actually, because they don't have real wide sidewalks in Canmore, they actually hung them on their facades. I mean, you can see right here, they did a little chalkboard sandwich board, and they had the little, you can see the candle on the table and the floral arrangement. Here on the close near left is actually a furniture and home accent store. They actually set these out there during the day, and they put everything back in every evening. I mean, these are the things your merchants should be doing, and they can do them year round. You know, I love this. Every merchant does this. In Sequim, Washington, I saw this. Every morning she does it, and every morning it's a little bit different. But I always say, don't put clothes racks outside, because that makes you look like a second-class garage sale time. You wouldn't put a clothes rack in your window, so you don't put it outside. This is a great, great teaser. And so there you go. Just what I said. You know, the worst thing you can do, unless you're having a garage sale weekend, no folding tables. You wouldn't put a folding table in your window displays. So don't do this outside your stores. Okay, number one, this one's actually blocking the window displays. And another thing you do is consider an air curtain. That's when you go right inside your front door, you have an air curtain goes down. You can actually leave your door open. I took this picture in January in Grass Valley, California, which is at the base of the Sierra Nevadas. It was freezing cold. But this merchant has an air curtain right there, so that she can have the door open. It's welcoming. And by the way, all the floral arrangements you see are silk. How cool is that? Talk about being inviting. Number 7, facade beautification. So we talked about putting window displays to exterior spaces, but now how about going another step further? This is called curb appeal. Did you know that 87% of prospective buyers for homes will drive by the home and then they'll decide whether or not they want to go inside or see the house? They're making an entire judgment by curb appeal. The same thing runs true for retail businesses. I mean, why do you think that people landscape their front yards? They put chairs on their front porches. Why do they make your front yard beautiful? Makes your home look inviting. It also increases the value of your residence, just as it does with businesses. I mean, and this goes for B&Bs. I love this B&B in Mount Morris. I mean, it's just beautiful what they did with the stallion there. And here's another statistic for you. 70% of first-time sales can come from curb appeal at these types of shops. 70%. We all travel. Have you ever said these words? That looks like a nice place to eat. We all do. We judge the book by the cover. So you can get benches like this that I saw in Lakeville, and I would put these in front of your workshops, or this is why we put these chairs on our front porches. We may never sit them, but it makes our home feel welcoming. And so next to extensions of window displays, the next thing to do, a bench flanked with pots on both sides, like this example right here in Ashland, Oregon. In this case, they had room for 2 benches, and they had those pots. Here's one in Cannon Beach, Oregon, right there, right outside. This is out of a retail store there. I think it's fantastic. If I go back to Wickford, Rhode Island, look at that. It just pulls people in. It makes your store feel welcoming. And benches should always be at the facade facing out. Always, just like a front porch. Here you go. This is another one in Wickford. Look at that with the 2 Adirondack chairs and the little table there. Fantastic. I took this over in Ohio on the shoreline. I think it's great. So if I come to Avon, I would love to see a bench to the left and to the right of those pots there. It would just finish it off. It would just be fantastic. They already do a really good job. But even shops like this, you don't have to be a restaurant to put a table and chair. This is optical. But just by putting that out there, it makes it feel welcome and opening. And of course, every place that sells food should put tables and chairs, even if we're not out there eating this time of year because it's too cold. And I think these are great examples that you already have throughout Livingston County. I think this is just an awesome job in Dansville. I think this is just beautiful, and it has welcome right there. It's a great way to use your flower pot in the winter when things aren't growing. So you could even create a buying co-op for pots and planters. Every 3 feet, by the way, they should just crowd your whole downtown. One shop can't do it all by themselves to make your downtown a draw. In Fredericksburg, Texas, that's what they did. They did a buying co-op. People just pitched in whatever they could afford. They went to a wholesale nursery and they went and got pots that were kind of left over. They might add a hairline crack or a little chip, and they say, we'll take them for pennies on the dollar. And they just lined them up and down the storefronts. And it created an amazing appeal for it. And all of a sudden, people just wanted to walk downtown because it was so beautiful. There were some pots left over, so this merchant did a whole grouping of them to pull people in their doors. And when you do that combined with a blade sign, does it make you want to walk in? You bet. So once again, curb appeal, 70% of first-time sales. Look at this in Neenah, Wisconsin. This is before. Now, the city has done a good job on the curbside beautification, but the facades are pretty bare. Before, after. Sales went up by almost 1/3 just doing that. Think about the favorite places you like to go visit. This is in Cambria, California. It's stunning. Look at this, St. Albert, Alberta. This is before. Look at this. He actually changed the sign and changed the name of it, but this is before. This is after. You know what the merchant told the mayor? His sales went up 400% just going from this to that. How amazing is that? So, outdoor cafe dining is huge. Even in the winter, you can do propane heaters, umbrellas. These are just some quick examples I want to show you of what you can do. This was Salem, Massachusetts. The flowers you see are silk. I actually like real ones better, and it's just a simple rope in the flower pots around it. In some cases where you have narrow sidewalks, you might need to route your pedestrians around. I love this example in Barrie, Ontario. Where in the winter they do put them away, but in the spring, summer, and fall, you can route your pedestrians around there and use your sidewalks for outdoor dining, which I think is fantastic. Even in this case where this is an ice cream shop, they have just 2 tables and 4 chairs. But when they see people eating ice cream in those chairs, line out the door of people trying to buy ice cream. These are great examples of what you can do along your facades. Number 8 in our list are awnings. This is something you really need to do, and the county wants to work with you on these. This awning above Pastique just pulls your eye. It's just great. It fits the whole color theme of the place. I mean, here's some other examples. The Euro Cafe in Geneseo. I just love that. That's just awesome. It creates shade. See the tables underneath? Awnings are great. Kesta Lasagna, I think, does a great job, and they actually have a retractable. There you can see the awning out. Here you can see it retracted. And so I think these are just great examples that you can emulate. And some of them are good. This is in Durant, Oklahoma, where we were recently working, and I love what they did there. They used to have these flat, like 1970s awnings. They ripped those out and then put these in, and it just fits. It just adds so much more appeal to you. So you can see here, I think they did a great job with those awnings. Right there, they're great. Right there, that's really great. Right there, that's awful. Would you want to go into those stores? And I think that's what you have to do is you get rid of those, but notice where the awnings are. It just upscales your shops. This is in El Dorado, Arkansas, where they wrap these all around this Mexican restaurant so they can put tables, chairs, and benches. Isn't that awesome? And you can even add white lights below your awnings and blade signs. In this case, no taller than 6 feet. Your blades, you want 6 inches. You want narrow blade signs because the awnings tend to get them to hang down. But I took these in El Dorado, Arkansas. I did this on a Sunday morning when there was nobody downtown. But notice how they wrap the awnings with the little lights? It's fantastic. It gets your attention and it draws people in. So these are great examples you can emulate. Once again, beautiful awnings, and they're well lit. And you can see where they would hang blade signs underneath the awnings for people coming down the sidewalk. Number 9 in our list is getting attention. This is flags, whirligigs, anything that moves. I think this is a great job. You can do signs that say open or holidays or whatever you like and putting them out. The wind moves them. Movement always catches our eye. Think about the sign spinners you see trying to sell real estate, standing out at corners. It just gets your attention and you're going to read what's on the sign more than you would of a sandwich board. Here's another example. Just that sign that says open is a great way to pull people in. Or doing a sign just like this, which was in Baraboo, Wisconsin. Or this one in Corning with the huge flowers there. It certainly gets your attention. And also use bright colors, red and yellow, always pull the eye and they grab attention. When I was in Durant, look at what they did. They took those old 1970s aluminum frames. They used a special paint, but you can see the turquoise, the yellow, the red there, it just pulls your eye. Now, if you had awnings over those, wouldn't that be incredible? And make the awnings fit the decor. I think it's fantastic. In Westport, Washington, they even did these Adirondack chairs that were different colors, the blues, the greens, the purples. It just grabs your attention. And by the way, in front of that very same store, they did these where they got the little whirligigs flying, rotating around, and they actually sell them. It's fantastic. And number 10 is lighting. All your stores should be lit up. I love what they did in Corning here where they put the white lights around. This isn't just holidays. They can put these inside the windows and make sure they're warm lights. I think it's really important that you use warm light, about 2700K. So if you look at that, that's the color you want. In Durant, Oklahoma, they did this. So they're not just the Christmas lights, but these LED string lights, and they're a warm light. It just is fantastic what they did. But we're also talking about how you light up your shops at night. Does it pull people in? And I think it's really important. I know it's a little more money, but with LED lighting, this is in Durant, Oklahoma. I actually walked downtown at night, which I didn't get a chance to do in Livingston County. But I walk downtown at night, and this gets me to come back during the day because they lit up their display windows. This I took from across the street at Maria's. Nice awnings, but look at how they lit up their windows. And you can see the tuck shop off to the right. Here's another one in Durand. They just did a really, really great job so that their stores are selling 24/7 hours a day. And finally, one of the things you do is even line your retail rooftops and around windows with LED lighting. They did this in Durand, and I think it's fantastic. And finally, I said 10, but I got a bonus one for you. And that is a fact that you need to know about as retail merchants, that 70% of all retail spending takes place after 6 o'clock p.m. 70%. And that isn't coming from me. That's coming from the National Retail Federation. These are people like Walmart and Walgreens and CVS and grocery stores, all of these people. And so sometimes we limit our store hours to hours when we're at work. And then you're closed when we're off of work. And then the only time we can ever visit you is really on a Saturday. But for you, what I would do is start with Fridays and Saturdays and be open till 9. It's going to take a while. One merchant can't do it by themselves. Would you go to a mall if only one merchant was open after 6? No. So this is something you should do. And I really, really urge you, downtown's about where we go after work and on weekends. Even for tourism, during the day, we're out in the parks, we're out playing golf, we're out antique shopping, we're out at your wineries, we're out doing all of these things. Then we come back at the end of the day and you're closed. And then you can gradually be working longer hours, and have some consistency. Maybe the day that everybody should be closed is on Mondays. But when you have consistency, at least we know what to expect and when it's safe to come to you, visit you. And so, Collins Quarter, they actually tell you where there's coffee and brunch and dinner when they're closed. It's easy for you to know when they're open. And one or two businesses cannot do it alone. So I want to give you a few more examples. These are going to be pretty quick, but these are photos I took when I was there in last November, and I just went, okay, here's what they did. You can see now the lighting and operational hours. This is a coffee shop, so they might not be open in the evening hours, and I wasn't there after dark, so I didn't know what the lighting was like, but I think they do a fantastic job. I think it's great, and that's in Leicester. Here's another one, Dogwood Trading Company. Look at this, window facade signs, check, window displays, check, exterior displays, check, beautification, check, getting attention, a blade sign, they could use it. It could even hang, just outside the front there, might even be under the entry area right there. But as we go through these, I just want to show you, these are some other great examples where they had almost all of them. And actually the Euro Cafe, I think they actually did, when I went there one time, they did actually have a sandwich board that had menu items on it, checking all the boxes, once again. So I think these are great examples for you to emulate. And so I'm going to close this by giving you a checklist. But look at these. These are just great examples. And I'm really giving a thumbs up to Kesta Lasagna and some of these businesses for doing such a great job. Once again, the operating hours weren't the best in these, and I don't know what the night lighting was like. That might have been great. But these are good examples that you can emulate, and they're already in Livingston County. I love this one out in Mumford. That's great. Blade signs tell easily when they're open. I wish it was a little later on Fridays and Saturdays, maybe even during the peak season, but once again, it's checking these boxes, and so these are great. Once again, you got the colorful chairs, you got the window displays, you got the whirligig, you got the open sign, you got the blade sign. How awesome is that? Even here where it's not just in a retail line, I think it's fantastic what they have done. And this place was always busy, by the way. But even when we're driving out in the country, out in Peffard, out here, I think this is just fantastic. The Yard of Ale, once again, a blade sign that you can see as you're driving down the highway. Beautiful landscaping, fall colored. How about this? This was in kind of like a strip mall, but they did such a good job of it that it made me want to eat there. They even closed off part of the parking lot. So this is what you've seen, retail blade signs, sandwich boards, window and facade signage, window displays, window flyer and poster. You need to address all of these. And this, you could do this for a few $100s, except for maybe awnings are a little more expensive. But I'm telling you, the county actually has some grant money to help you do some of these. And so, which I think is actually fantastic. They want you to do better with your businesses. So here is your checklist. This is the checklist you need to go. And this is one that you can get. There's a handout with this. The checklist is in there. You can snap a picture of this and do this. Did I do that one, that one, that one? Work yourself down the list. And I guarantee you will see your sales increase. They want to help with you. They will help you with these. These are inexpensive ideas and inexpensive things to do. And so I'm Roger Brooks. I had a great time in Livingston County. I can't wait to come back. And if these businesses can do it in November, I'm sure there's no reason why people in Livingston County can't do these things year round. And by the way, it will make you a destination year round. And there's no reason why your downtowns shouldn't be a primary draw for even visitors coming into Livingston County. And so for more, work with the county. They do an absolute fantastic job. They want to help you succeed. And so thank you so much for doing your part and making Livingston County a fantastic place to live, to work in, and to visit.
Okay, I hope that video got you thinking about curb appeal and some other things that you can add to your application. I'm going to pass it back to Maureen at this point to review the logistics of applying.
Okay, so to apply, you can visit our website. This is the same link that was emailed to you this morning. It's growlivco.com/first-impressions. Once you're on that page, if you scroll down about halfway, you'll see a button that reads Download Program Guidelines and Application here. You want to click on that button and the application package will open. Now at this point, once you have the package open, you should save it to your computer. If you start filling it out while it's open on the website, there are no saving and submitting capabilities within the website. So it will not save your work. If you save this to your computer, that way you can type in it, you can save it and come back to it and you won't lose your work. So we would ask that you please type in the application rather than printing it and writing in it. It just makes it easier to read and review. And then once you're done typing your answers, you can print the application so that you can sign it to submit. Now, along with your application, you may be required to include certain attachments depending on the type of project you're applying for. So these might include existing condition photos, contractor quotes, renderings, or color swatches. And the program guideline is going to walk you through this and let you know what detail is required based on your project, and it will indicate when attachments are required or when they're recommended. So applications must be received by noon on March 29th. I would suggest either dropping the application off at our office in person, or you can email it directly to Louise. You can mail your application, but again, it needs to be in hand by noon on the 29th, not postmarked. So if you are going to mail your application, perhaps email a copy of it first, or make sure that you get it in the mail well in advance of the due date. Okay, at this time, we're going to open it up for questions. In case anybody has to hop off, you have Louise's contact information right here on the screen. You can always reach out for some one-on-one guidance on anything we talked about. But we are going to turn our camera on here. If you want to type a question in the chat, we'll keep an eye on that. And if you want to unmute yourself to ask a question, please feel free to do so.
Could you go over the timing again for the, I know when the application is due, but then the release of funds, you had said something about April in the beginning of this chat.
Yes. So our board meets on Friday, April 2nd to review the applications. So that following week, Monday, April 5th, probably Monday or Tuesday of that week, you would hear an announcement.
And the funds are not reimbursable. All work has to be done after.
Correct. Yes, work should not begin prior to award. If there's any sort of issue with that, I know there are some things we've seen in the past where there's a very long lead time to receive certain furniture or fixtures. Give Louise a call and she can talk through that with you if you need to place a purchase order early. Just make sure you check with her before placing an order.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Did anybody else have any questions?
Yeah, this is Brian Teachell. I have a quick question about the comment you made about painting the exterior. Like we have a very, very large corner building, so it's not just a simple storefront. Is that painting that building, and it's severely in need of painting again. So I was looking for this program to help us out. Is that by itself not eligible?
Well, the painting, this is the ways, the painting is eligible, but if it's just standard maintenance, it's less competitive as against other applications that are
Gotcha.
other elements.
Just the scoring like we used to do, because I used to be on that committee. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Understood. All right.
So if you can add other elements, it would help your case.
Gotcha. Okay.
Louise, I have a question. This is Denise from McFadden's.
Yeah.
So I've had 3 different companies look at my building for awnings, and I have all glass above my my entrance and then below my sign. There's literally almost no way for me to put an awning. They're just shaking their heads. I don't even have a place for a flagpole because it's just glass with like this thin little metal pieces. So I was looking at some of those little umbrella furniture sets that have like the half umbrella that backs up against the window. So I was wondering if I could include something like that, like a little table set that has, one of those half umbrellas. Since you said it's competitive, and I just really wouldn't be able to add the awning in there.
That's totally acceptable, and outdoor seating is a priority, so that would definitely work.
Okay, I just didn't want to reduce my chances by not adding the awning in the whole thing. So.
No, that's fine, especially if you can't really find a place for the awning.
Yeah, okay, well, thank you.
Okay, thanks.
If anyone has any other questions, feel free to unmute.
I have a quick question about, if I don't have like an architect's rendering of what I'm doing, is it okay to just kind of do my best with a picture and kind of annotating it in that kind of way? Is that all right?
Yeah, that's totally fine. Yep.
Cool. Great. Thanks.
Just so we understand the scope of the project.
Sure. It's cool.
And everyone, please remember, just call me before you put in your application if you want to make sure it's okay, or you want me to review it, that's totally fine. I can even come out to your building if you want to run things by me.
Oh, that would be great, especially for colors. Like if somebody wanted to change the color, I'm interested in changing, not just like a chipping paint job, but completely changing the color scheme and doing something more exciting, and with the umbrella tables and all kinds of things like with the blade signs. But I would love to get some input. I have some ideas, but it'd be better to have some expertise.
Yes, we definitely want to be we want to consult on the colors. So yes, I would definitely get together with you on that.
Okay, I'll email you then. Thank you.
Hi, Louise. It's Joni Santucci.
Hi.
Hi, I have the renderings that Rick Hauser did for the Main Street grant way back when, and we're looking at updating the lighting
Oh, great,
of the building.
great.
So it's more, obvious when you drive by. Do you still require like 2 or 3 contractor quotes for that?
We need 2 quotes.
2 quotes, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and what he has here is, I really liked, but at the time we couldn't do it. So that's what I'm gonna go by, pretty
That's
much.
perfect.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, thank you very much for this presentation. It was really, really enlightening.
Oh, good.
Thank you.
So everyone, make sure you look at the design guidelines, especially for signage. The signs, like the signs that go on the building or the blade signs, we're going to be a little more flexible on than we have in the past, but the signs on the building do need to be dimensional in some respects, as in carved. And I hope you found the video interesting. I think there are a lot of different elements in there. He's a great presenter, and it's just fun to see all the things that you can do with the front of your building to add to that curb appeal and bring people in. It also helps your whole district.
Hey, Louise, one more question. This is Brian again. Is the Lakeville properties down there by, in Lakeville, is that considered Livonia district? It wasn't listed specifically, but we've got some interests over there.
Lakeville is not in the downtown, is not a downtown district at this.
Okay,
point.
so it won't qualify. Okay.
Right. You do have a building in Livonia though, don't you, Brian?
Yeah, but we're trying to get rid of that one. So I know you. So
Well, if you have somebody looking at it, make sure they know we have programs to help them.
definitely, sure.
Okay, so
Anybody? Yep. No more questions?
you can always email me directly with any questions. Make sure you read the guidelines really thoroughly because there's a lot of information in there.
And we'll have the video and the slides up on the website in the next day or two in case you need to refer back to anything. Great. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.